Up the film.
In California, the worst measles outbreak in 15 years is spreading. The virus is roaring back into the headlines tonight. An outbreak somehow traced to
someone who had probably caught measles abroad, visited Disneyland, and may have sneezed. Measles on the march in America.
This outbreak is showing no signs of letting up. There are already more cases this year.
The number tripled to 644 measles cases reported in 27 states.
I mean, is this all basically because of the anti-vaccination movement, because parents aren't vaccinating their kids?
Yeah, I think so.
A bill that would ban exemptions from childhood vaccines is advancing through the California legislature.
We are offering legislation that will abolish the personal belief exemption.
I think you're starting to see why it is that mandates are so important.
There has been some inaccurate information circulating about vaccines, mostly stemming from a British study linking vaccines to autism. Still continue to fear that vaccine caused autism, even though that's been debunked? Repeatedly and thoroughly debunked.
You may have heard vaccination causes autism in 1 out of 110 children. Fuck that. Total bullshit. It doesn't.
The bill requiring children to be vaccinated has passed with bipartisan support. Every child must meet immunization standards before joining public schools, private schools, and daycares.
I would strongly encourage everybody, look at the science, look at the facts. CDC, the Center for Disease Control, can give you good information. Get your children vaccinated.
I've waited a long time to tell my story, and I want to tell it truthfully. I was involved in deceiving millions of taxpayers regarding the potential negative side effects of vaccines. We lied about the scientific findings. The CDC can no longer be trusted to do vaccine safety work. Can't be trusted to be transparent. The CDC can't be trusted to police itself. Just a few thoughts. William W. Thompson, Senior Scientist, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
You are the first people, beyond the makers of this film, to hear those words. And they were spoken by a senior scientist in charge of this particular study at the CDC, an organization charged professionally and morally with protecting the health of the children of this country. My name is Andy Wakefield. I qualified in medicine in 1981 as an academic gastroenterologist. I worked at the Royal Free Hospital. I led a team of 19 researchers looking at inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis. And I was contacted on May the 17th, 1995 by a mother whose story was identical to that of Polly. Not anti-vaccine, she followed the rules, taken her child to be vaccinated on time, and he had slipped into severe autism, epilepsy, and inflammatory bowel disease. We put together a team of some of the most experienced pediatric gastroenterologists, neurologists, and others in the world, led at the time by Professor John Walker Smith, who was the founding father of the discipline of pediatric gastroenterology. It was his team that conducted the investigations on these children that proved beyond a shadow of doubt they had an inflammatory bowel disease. The parents were absolutely right about a disease which the medical profession had, to a man and a woman, denied existed. Your child has autism, they're bound to have diarrhea 10 times a day. Go home and get over it. The parents were right. That is the basis of clinical medicine. You listen to the patient, or in this case, the patient's parents. And so when the parents say, my child regressed after a vaccine, as a doctor, morally and professionally, you are obliged to take that extremely seriously, which is what we did. And that was the end of my career. This story today is not about me, and it is not about what happened to me in the past. It's about William Thompson. We will not be taking questions about what happened to me in the past, about the lies and the misrepresentation of Brian Deere, of Rupert Murdoch's media, or of the British Medical Journal. We will not be discussing that today because we're going to be discussing something far, far more important. I went to Congress in 2000 and 2001 and I shared with the CDC there and elsewhere the notion that early exposure to measles, mumps, rubella vaccine may be a problem, and that it was the triple vaccine rather than the single vaccine. We never heard the story of progression to autism following the single vaccine. It was not anti-vaccine. There was something idiosyncratic about this vaccine that was causing a problem. It was the same story around the world. We suggested that age of exposure may be a problem. Why? Because with natural infection, age determines the outcome. With measles, the younger you get it, the more likely a severe reaction. The CDC went away, they tested that hypothesis in 2001, and they found that it was correct. And they kept that finding secret for 14 years. Moreover, they portrayed in the paper that they eventually published on that study in 2004 that MMR vaccine was absolutely safe. That study went before the Institute of Medicine. The Institute of Medicine issued a report saying that MMR vaccine is safe, and moreover, we recommend that no further investment is made in researching the autism vaccine connection. That report went to the court, the US Court of Federal Claims, where there were 5,000 children whose cases were being heard before special masters to get justice under congressional mandate that they should be compensated for their autism. Those cases were all to a boy and a girl thrown out immediately without any redress. They were denied their day in court. They were denied justice because the CDC had committed, in the words of William Thompson, not my words, William Thompson, that they had lied about the scientific findings. That is what this film is about. It is about safer vaccines. And the recommendation I made, that has never been portrayed in the media, is that we should revert to the use of the single measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, because there is something about the MMR that is a problem. If you want to protect against measles outbreaks in Disneyland or anywhere else in the world, you have single measles vaccine to do so. So the media have been duped, willingly or not. The public have been duped because this is not an anti-vaccine argument. This is about safe and effective vaccines against serious infectious disease in children. And you have to ask yourself how this has all come to pass. And now, anathema to the film industry. This has been censored. In the United States of America, it is now the First Amendment that is under attack. It's moved from a vaccine issue and a civil rights issue to a First Amendment issue. And Americans who may be agnostic or even antagonistic to the notion that vaccines cause autism need to be very, very concerned. And so for the media here, the only thing I have to say is that whatever is said about me, it doesn't matter. Because whatever has happened to me doesn't matter one bit. What happens to these children and to the children of America and the world is what counts. I am irrelevant. So bring it, as one president once said. I will not be putting your fight. And if you want to see what this film is about, then you must go and watch it. And if you don't comment. Do not complain. Thank you.